Whenever a company does something stupid, greedy, or unethical, it'll be met with a fair amount of outrage and frustration on the internet. And in a lot of cases, these discussions lead to people calling for a boycott of the company. They say, make a stand, vote with your wallet, don't give the company your money until they reverse their decision and change their ways. Voting with your wallet, boycotting, these are strategies designed to put financial pressure on companies to do what the customers want. Now, on a passive level, this happens all the time, mainly when a company releases a product, it doesn't sell well because the customers don't want it, so it gets discontinued, and companies prioritize selling things that the customers do want. But this is just customers subconsciously having preferences for certain products. But if consumers are mad about something a company does, and they want to deliberately put pressure on them to do something different, that's when you'll hear people calling for boycotts and voting with your wallet. But whether those calls translate into action, that's where it gets complicated. I will start off by saying that I do try to avoid giving my money to certain businesses. I haven't shopped at Walmart in over 2 years because I don't like their predatory practices and the ways that they deliberately inconvenience me as a customer. I try to avoid going to places that only take cash because most of them are just doing it to evade taxes. I do think you shouldn't take your business to a place if you believe they don't deserve it. But at the end of the day, you're just one person, and unless you're part of a group of thousands or maybe even millions of people who decide not to give their money to a certain business, it will likely not hurt the profits of that business enough for them to listen to you. And unfortunately, in most cases, there won't be a substantial amount of people joining your effort to hurt a company's profits for the sake of change. Because for most people, these things are simply not a big deal and not worth sacrificing the convenience these companies offer just to make a statement. To them, a new anti-consumer practice or a slightly higher price tag or lower quality item with less features is just a minor inconvenience that they are willing to live with. Hell, a lot of people don't even notice when a company does something bad and continue buying from them as usual, because unfortunately, most people are ignorant about shady business practices and have no agency over how they spend their own money. Take Nintendo, for example. They are a company who is obnoxiously overprotective of their IPs. They're known for abusing copyright law to threaten even the smallest of indie devs for doing anything with their games. They refuse to fix design flaws in their controllers. They charge money for a very mediocre, unreliable online service. They hold their games to such an overinflated level of status and prestige that they never get price cuts and almost never go on sale. And sure, they're allowed to price their games however they want, but these are all objectively anti-consumer practices. And you know what gets done about it? Nothing, because they have one of the largest, most loyal fan bases in the gaming community that will attack anyone who criticizes the company and continue to give them money no matter what. So even if you and I put our foot down and say, you're not getting a penny from me, Nintendo, until you stop this nonsense, it won't matter because there will be millions of others who won't do that. How about the smartphone industry over the last decade? Especially with Android phones. Remember when they used to have expandable storage and removable batteries? Well, at one point the manufacturers decided to remove those features to save themselves some money. And sure, tech reviewers and enthusiasts complained about it, but ultimately millions of people still bought those phones, signaling to those companies that those features don't need to be brought back because there's no consequence for doing otherwise. Funny enough, Samsung did bring back expandable storage for a few generations, but a few years ago they stopped doing it. Even in private sales, people struggle to be selective with their purchases. Remember how there was a shortage of PS5s and graphics cards back in 2020, and how scalpers used bots to buy them up from retailers, then resell them on eBay for like 4 times the price? Instead of waiting a few months to find a PS5 at a normal price, people decided to entertain these scalpers and pay their ridiculous asking prices, hence encouraging them to continue their dumb scalping business. And this ended up inspiring Nvidia to price hike the next GPU generations, because they saw that people are willing to pay those kind of prices. And guess what? People bought those new, more expensive graphics cards as well without a second thought. Now, yes, Nvidia did lower the prices of some of their cards with the latest generation, but it's still insanely expensive compared to what they had not even a decade ago. PC gaming in general has gotten a lot more expensive than it used to be, all because of customers who don't want to make a stand against these companies that are constantly taking advantage of them. And the worst part is that sometimes they have no choice but to let a business take advantage of them. If someone wants to stop using Adobe, Amazon, Google, or Microsoft products, in a lot of cases they can't, because those things are industry standards without many viable alternatives. It's a similar story with Ticketmaster, where people have to constantly put up with their ridiculous hidden fees and clunky, unreliable interface because that's the only website most venues use to sell tickets. Another example is how smaller towns in America might only have a small selection of stores to shop at, meaning that even if the people there don't like those stores, they still have to give them their money because they have no other choice. And that's not even beginning to cover the natural monopolies for things like gas, internet, and electricity. Don't like Comcast? Well, if they're the only provider in your area, or the only one with decent speeds, it looks like you'll be giving your money to Comcast. Now, admittedly, I don't know what percentage of a company's customers are forced to be their customers, but it certainly makes swaying a company's decision more difficult if they have a guaranteed stream of income from those people. Now, this might come off as pessimistic or defeatist to some people, but to be clear, I don't think voting with your wallet is a bad idea, and there have been successful boycotts in history that forced a company to change their business practices. But typically, it requires the consumer base to be especially pissed off at something the company did, to the point that they lose a large enough number of customers, causing a huge profit loss for the company that forces them to change things. Most notably the Rosa Parks incident, which led to enough people boycotting the bus system that eventually it stopped being segregated, and that also contributed to segregation being ended nationwide about a decade later. But again, that was a very serious messed up thing that happened with Rosa Parks. If it's something less severe, chances are only a small number of people will be upset by it. So even if they vote with their wallets and don't give the company any money, it's unlikely that it'll get them to change anything. Again, that's not good. I'm not saying that's how it should be. I'm just saying that's how it is. Maybe one day, if consumerism in general goes down and people grow a spine and understand that they don't have to accept every bad thing a company does, then we'll see some change. Now, if you're boycotting a company for doing bad things, by all means keep doing it, because that in turn can encourage other people to do it as well, and that'll bring us closer to a society that's willing to stand up to companies and where voting with your wallet could actually work. Aside from that, right now I'd say the best way to fight bad business practices is through legal regulations and by giving your money, to the best of your ability, to businesses that have as few of those bad practices as possible. And that's the end of this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, but before you click out of this video, wait, I have an announcement to make. So a few months ago, I made a video where I was like, yo, YouTube, what the hell? How am I supposed to get 3,000 watch hours? Well, somehow, miraculously, I managed to do it. I'm just as surprised as you are. Guys, thank you so much for all the support these last almost 5 years at this point. Thank you so much for watching me. I legitimately could not have done this without you. This is a huge moment for the channel. I'm very happy we managed to pull this off. Like, this is awesome. I do need about 1,000 more watch hours to enable monetization, so if there's any videos on the channel you haven't seen yet, be sure to check those out. Tell your friends, your family, your dog about the channel. In the meantime, I do have donations enabled, so if you want to help a brother out and leave a tip, definitely consider leaving a super thanks under this video. I'm also going to enable membership, so if you want to contribute to me monthly, you can do that. I'm not a big creator, so there's not that much I can offer you right now, but I do have a few perks there, and I plan on adding more as time goes on. If you don't want to do any of that, that's completely fine. I'm just happy that you're watching me. But yeah, guys, again, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching me. Thank you for giving me your time. As always, this was your captain speaking, and I'll see you later.